We back again with another segment I like to call Talk to Me. We got another special guest in the building, founder of BSOY Foundation, Miss Blake Frazier herself, the
Yeah.
one and only Breezy. How you doing today?
What's up? I'm good. I'm good.
I appreciate you pulling up, man. It's been a long time coming.
It has. It has. I ain't seen you since the gala.
Yeah, since the gala, man. And once again, I want to say thank you for inviting me to that event. It was a dope turnout, an amazing experience, and I'm looking for, I'm looking for the next one.
Yeah, man. It was a pleasure. Like when we first connected, was it 2, 3 years ago?
Yeah,
I knew it was gonna be some good. Waiting
yeah,
to see what was going on with it, and
yeah,
you popped out. You've been doing your thing. The consistency is always, what I be looking
for
for
sure.
the most part, and to see you still going strong and your platform continuing to build. Like I was glad to have you there. So
For
yeah.
sure. I appreciate that. But before we get started, for those who's living under a rock, introduce yourself. Let everybody know just a little something about you.
Okay. So I go by I am Breezy. BREEZE, Breeze with an E, not a Y. I'm an artist, philanthropist. Some may also know me as Breland Coleman or Miss Blake Frazier. Philanthropist and activist for the North Memphis Frazier community. Also the CEO and founder of the BSOY Foundation. I wear many, many hats: serial entrepreneur, business coach, life coach, mentor.
Mhm.
Let's kind of go
Yeah,
on.
we be talking forever. We talk about these accolades. One thing for sure, man, them accolades stay up there when they come to Miss Breezy.
I'm trying. I'm lining
For
them
real.
up.
But let's talk about the Miss Blake Frazier. All right,
Okay.
let's start with that. Tell us a little more about that.
So for me, most people may know, through my family and things like that. We actually are from the South Memphis area.
Okay.
We moved to Frazier, I want to say 2011, somewhere up in there. And at the time, I was 11 years old. So I was still in, at the time, I was still in elementary school, fifth grade, I want to say. And we got into the Fraser community. It was hard moving. I had been in South Memphis, thus far my whole life. So that was what I knew. All my friends and schools and things like that. And so the transition was real hard for me and real difficult. Just kind of bounced around from school to school in the neighborhoods trying to figure out what worked for me. I went to Spring Hill, Brookmead. I even went back and went to Roselle. I dabbled and dabbled in a lot of different schools in the area, just trying to
Hmm.
find out what fit for me. And none of it really actually worked out. Um, there were bullying and things like that in schools and stuff like that to the point where I ended up homeschooled my middle school years, sixth through eighth grade. Tried to go back to high school my ninth grade year. Didn't really like it, and the school system was so behind. Everything I was presented to do in ninth grade, I had done my seventh grade year. Middle school,
Mm.
they didn't even have the opportunity for me to take advanced classes or anything like that. So I ended up leaving public school again, and I graduated a year early, homeschooled. But being in the Fraser community really shaped me. I've been there for the most pivotal years in my life, right? From 11 to I'm now 24, about to be 25, and I've been in the Fraser area all these
You
last few
24 years
years.
old?
Yeah, I'm 24.
Oh, you just a little baby, man.
I'll be
Okay.
25 in November.
Okay.
Big Scorpio.
Yeah, big Scorpio.
The
Okay. So you
biggest.
you a November Scorpio, so that's
I
good.
am.
Okay.
Yep, 11/14.
All right.
Yep. But being in a community, I've learned a lot. Again, it's kind of shaped me over the last couple of years for sure. From I started my nonprofit in the Fraser community when I was
Mm,
15. Just doing the work in the area, back to school drives, things like that, until
mm,
we continue to grow. Met a lot of my mentors as of today from that community,
mm.
things like that. And so Frazier's home for me. Even though I'm still a South Memphis baby, I want to give a head chopped off.
Yeah.
I still belong to them, but
Yeah.
Frasier's definitely where I kind of grew a lot of my roots in who I am today.
Most 24-year-olds, man, they doing something completely different. For you to want
Yeah.
to be like a pillar in the community, helping the community, and just all these things that build women. Like, what gravitated you towards that?
I think honestly, I come from a family of girls. I have two sisters. I have an older sister and a younger sister, and I'm the middle child. So, I grew up with a lot of support in like women and sisterhood and things like that. And I always express this to even our mentees and mentors, a part of our Women and Girls Initiative, is that even though you may be born with the sisterhood, sometimes that sisterhood is not feeding you what you need.
Mm,
And even if it is, sometimes it's just not enough, and that is okay.
yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, for women and even for men, especially in the Black community, we are taught that whatever we are given should just be enough.
Mm,
And I think that's completely untrue and unfounded. And so I express if it's not enough, if you're not getting enough of what you need, go find it.
mm.
And so that's what I did, especially when I graduated college. 2021, I was like, I need some friends. Like, I don't really have no friends. Like, I couldn't find people on my level.
Yeah,
I was having a really difficult time finding my tribe. I would either get in the room and I'm the smartest person in the room, and that could be a blessing and a curse,
yeah.
or I would get in the room and I'm the one who has the most resources or the most accolades, and I just was receiving backlash from who I was and the opportunities that I were afforded.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is not okay. These are not the people I want to be around. Like, why can't I find what it is that I'm looking for?
Mhm.
And I ended up moving out of Memphis in 2023. A lot of people don't know, but I left for it for a little while.
Yeah.
Kind of traveled, went to Atlanta, went to Texas, things like that, figuring out what I liked and what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And came back home and I said, you know what? I'm gonna give Memphis 365 days to show me this is where I'm supposed to be,
Mhm.
to show me this is where I'm supposed to bring my resources, my talents, and knowledge. And started with creating a platform for women and girls called Influence Her, and that is our women and girls personal and professional development community.
Mhm.
And just realizing that I'm not the only person looking for sisterhood. Like, it's other people out there who are definitely looking for that space, that community. And so here we are today.
Okay, okay.
We
It
75 members strong.
that's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. Well, congratulations to you on that.
Thank
And
you.
speaking of influence her, you just recently had an event.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little something about that event. How was it? How did it go? And give us your insight on it.
Yes. So we just did Girls Love Rooftops. It was on March the 8th.
Mm.
We partnered with Tequila Marta Mexican in South Haven. This event, we started it for the first time last year in August,
Okay.
and we did it at Lafayette's off of Madison.
Mm.
Really great turnout. Initially it was just a little social event, so the girls could go outside and network and meet other people and tell the community that we're here. You know, tell other women and girls, hey, come out. It's a completely free event. We
Mm.
go patronize their local business. All we ask is that you purchase something off their menu and support them for housing us in their space. And then it just kind of grew from there. And so now it's a quarterly event. It's something that we do every single quarter, just as a interest kind of event,
Mm.
where women and girls can come out, have lunch, network, mix, mingle. We play games, we do giveaways, and really just learn what the influencer community is about and have the opportunity to join that same day on the spot.
Okay. All right. I also saw that you're running for Memphis chapter governor of the
Hmm.
Recording Academy.
Yes,
That's
yes.
dope. What was it that interests you in that?
For me, just really wanting to make a change.
Yeah.
Like, I think the Recording Academy is an amazing initiative.
Mm.
I love what it is that they do, kind of trying to highlight those artists. For me, I'm coming from an indie artist perspective.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not signed to anybody. I don't ever plan to sign to anybody. And I think that we still deserve those opportunities because there are a lot of indie artists who are making waves and making just as much noise as those, major or signed artists.
Mm.
And I think I have a unique perspective, especially being a younger person, especially coming from Memphis, where a lot of, if not all,
Mm.
the influence in the music industry is coming from our city.
Okay.
I think I have a very unique standpoint on a way that the Recording Academy can assist
Yeah.
those in the industry, particularly those independent artists.
Let's talk about speak up and speak out, a public speaking and networking seminar.
Yeah.
Tell us a little more about that.
So over the last couple of years, I have the gift of gab. Thank God.
Yeah.
Um, and thanks to my dad and my mom. I think really it just came from one being in the rooms with them. Again, I was homeschooled, so I got to see a lot of their business tips. I got to learn language,
Mm.
how to talk the talk in certain rooms because there's a certain language that every room speaks, and you have to learn how to adapt and speak the language that is being spoke in the room.
Yeah.
And that could be a very difficult thing to do. I've experienced it being very difficult, especially when I kind of crossed over into philanthropy and nonprofit.
Mm.
It's a completely different world than the music industry.
Yeah.
Yes, they do meet quite often, and a lot of times in cases, especially if I be honest, when we're talking tax write offs and things like that.
Mm.
A lot of artists will deal and dabble into nonprofit and philanthropy so they can get the tax write off.
Yeah.
But for me, it being more than that, I had to really learn, especially as a CEO and founder, how to speak that language and get in those rooms.
Mm.
And again, just my parents instilling in me, good vocabulary, just being able to speak very well.
Mm.
I won't say proper, but just speaking well,
Yeah.
and then learning how to use that to your advantage in the rooms that you're in.
How it make you feel when people say, not you in particular, but when
Hmm.
people say you talking white? How does this
I
statement?
think it's very insulting. I've
I hate
heard
when people
that.
say that.
I've heard that my entire life
Yeah.
from my peers, younger, older,
Mhm.
strangers. I've heard that this kind of one of the first compliments I guess that people try to give me is you talk very well. And then they'll hit you with the for your age or for
Mm.
where you're from or things like that. And it's
Mhm.
like you could have just left it at I
Exactly.
talk very well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so I think it's just an insult, when they try to put that little jab at the end. You can't talk a color.
Exactly.
You can't talk a race.
Mhm.
You can't talk dialect.
Yeah.
I do believe every place, every group, every space has a dialect of communication.
Yeah.
And I have just learned how to adapt to that. The way that I'm speaking here with you on the podcast, it's a mixture of things that I have learned over the years.
Yeah.
And have kind of had to adapt, so to speak, my own dialect and form of communication because I play in so many roles. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I need to know how to have media training and sit here and have an interview, but I have to realize, okay, I'm having an interview not just as an artist, but also as a public figure, but also as a CEO and founder, but also as a business owner. And so y'all gonna hear a couple code switching going on in the midst of communication,
Exactly.
depending on what we're talking about.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Very, very, very well put for your age.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm joking. Um, I want to talk about cheat code.
Okay.
Let's talk about your latest single. You do your own camera work. You do your own visuals. Let me just. I know I'm just will say this at the end, but let me just say this, and I've told you this already, but I'm extremely proud of you.
Thank you.
You're an
Thank you.
amazing businesswoman, amazing person. I love your mindset.
Thank you.
Tell me more about Chico. Tell me about this new single.
Oh man. So it's new to y'all, but this is old to me.
Is it old?
It's old.
Okay.
So this is the first public platform that I'm gonna say this on.
Okay.
But I'm releasing a record every Friday for the rest of the year.
Wow.
Dun, dun, dun.
You doing one every Friday?
Every single
So
Friday.
this was your first
This
one?
this is the first one to
So
kick
you
it
just
off.
released this day? I mean,
It
this
comes
past
out this
Friday?
Friday, actually, on the 14th.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
it'll be on all platforms on the 14th.
So can I ask you this? Are they
Shoot.
already in the chamber,
hmm
or you just gonna be kind of working on them throughout the year?
Both.
Okay. Okay.
So what I'm doing is I have a really big catalog of stuff that just never released or
Hmm.
things that, I'm a perfectionist, been one since a child.
Yeah.
And so even those old records as a kid that I recorded, there's plenty of them never got put out.
Mm.
Whether it's because I ain't like the engineering, because I didn't like the production, because I couldn't get the mix and master in time, and I felt like certain songs were for a time and a place, and I feel like maybe I've missed those times to release it, and so I just didn't.
Yeah.
And honestly, over the last, I want to say 2 years, 2023, yeah, April
Mhm.
2023, I was diagnosed with narcolepsy and cataplexy.
Mm.
And essentially, it's a neurological disorder. That's what narcolepsy is. And so my sleep clock is off in my brain. So I be passing out. I be
Mm.
like just going to sleep
So
at any given time. So if I just, I'm okay.
yeah.
I be back in a minute.
So no. So hold on. That's scary as hell.
It
So
is.
how are you? I mean, it seemed like if you were diagnosed with that, you wouldn't be allowed to drive.
So, okay.
Not saying she drove her, y'all. Should
No,
I
I
say?
mean, we'll
Ah,
tell the
okay.
truth.
Ah,
You know
okay.
what I'm saying? So just over the past couple, so narcolepsy doesn't have a cure.
Okay.
There's no cure for it. They say it's treatments, but them treatments, y'all, got so many different side effects. I'm not willing to. I don't want to try.
Mm.
I'm not gonna be the guinea pig. It's not enough people who have shown records or where I've seen records
Yeah.
of the actual side effects and things. So you're not gonna dummy me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be test dummy. Like it say like the side effects are like shakes and shivers
Mm.
or paranoia or stuff like that. Wet in the bed. Like, listen,
Mm.
I'm cool with hitting the ground every once in a
Oh
while
my God.
rather than all these side effects. Like,
Yeah.
I'll
That
just
just sounds so
pass.
bad. But go
And
ahead.
it is it was definitely scary.
Is it scary to like? I've seen someone have a seizure, but is it scary to see when it happened to you?
I be passed out, so I can't see it, but I've been told it is a horrific thing to see
Oh my God.
because it's like dead weight, like dead body type of
But I'm
situation.
talking about like when you see someone having a seizure, they're shaking, they're foaming. Like, is it to the extent,
So it's
or you just pass out and just be
so
sick?
mine's is so I have just not narcolepsy. Some people have narcolepsy where they'll sleep, but their muscles stay. So
Mm.
they'll just like kind of go into a sleep, but still be up. upright. I have narcolepsy type 1, which is with cataplexy. So I lose all muscle tone in my body.
Mm,
And so it looks like a fainting spell,
mm,
but I'm not like sleep. It's
yeah,
called a sleep disorder, but I'm not asleep. I'm
yeah.
conscious. I'm just like it's like temporary paralysis.
You
Um,
using a lot of big words, so I'm really taking it
like
with disrespect.
I can still like hear what's going on
Yeah,
around me. I just cannot
you still
move.
aware. You just
I
can't
just can't move.
function.
And even experiencing it is scary, especially like when you're in like public places, like, people get to be doing weird, like touching on you or
Mm.
just strangers. Like you don't know what could happen or what somebody could do because I am like incapacitated. Like
So
there's
so
nothing I
how
can
long
do.
does it last?
They're different. They're always different. I think my shortest, like I can have really, really short spells where they're like maybe a minute to anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, depending
Wow,
on just how exerted my body may be.
a minute is a long time. So
A
10
minute
to
is a long
15
time.
minutes.
And again, I'm conscious under there.
Mm.
So it's like I'm trying, like you can see my eye, I have rapid eye movement because I'm not asleep. So I'm trying to wake myself.
So what would somebody what is it somebody should do if they was to witness this?
I typically tell people just try to catch my head.
Mm,
Because I wake up with concussions. Like I've hit concrete grounds outside. I've fell on steps, porches, like hard surfaces.
mm,
So I just try to tell people try to catch my head. I wouldn't recommend anybody to catch nobody's dead body weight.
mhm,
It's a lot heavier than you think. Like upright, I weigh 115 pounds, but dead weight me is heavier than you think it is.
mhm,
And that's coming from what I've heard from grown men having to pick my dead weight body up. It's
mm,
just heavier than what you think it is. You weigh essentially probably 2 times more when you're just on dead weight than what you do if you are up.
mhm.
And so
I'm talking about, but
I just say catch my head and just wait. Like
so wait.
that's
That's
it.
what
You
I'm
just
saying.
gotta.
So don't call the.
I mean, you can call the ambulance, but they can't do nothing either. There's literally nobody can do anything to like make me come out of it faster. You just have to wait till I come out of it.
Mm,
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend putting anything like super cold on me, nothing hot, because fast temperature changes in my body will send me into shock.
mm,
And what that does is sometimes I'll wake up with kind of like temporary memory loss, like not really knowing who I am or
mm,
who you are or where I am,
yeah,
because it shocks my body.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Now I think we was talking about cheat code, but
Cheat code.
but you kind of we kind of ventured off a little bit.
Okay. So, like
And
I
you were
said,
saying you were dropping away every Friday.
every Friday,
Yeah.
yes. But in that diagnosis kind of led me to say, okay, put it out there. You never know when your time gonna come. Essentially, that's where I was
Mm,
going with it. Like life is short. You just don't never know what could happen. It could be a freak accident. Like, not to be graphic, but I could literally just fall into the middle of the street and somebody run me over. It's
mm,
like you just never know what could happen.
yeah.
And so I'm like, let me just put that out there. I would hate to pass away and all this work I done had in the catalog never got put out.
Mm,
And so that's why I decided to do this and release something every Friday. But as I said, Cheat Code is old. Cheat Code got recorded, I want to say 2018.
mm.
Had to be,
Oh yeah.
yeah, had to be 2018 because the song embodied me having the cheat code, right? Like just to life. Like I'm an anthropist, I'm a philanthropist. I'm in college, like graduated high school early. That's what embodies that record. And so,
Mm,
I graduated high school, like I said, a year earlier, graduated 2018, went straight into college, and that's kind of when I recorded that record.
who motivates you? Like who is it that you look up to pick their brain and you love the way they just move throughout life? Who is it that motivates you?
My mom and my dad, honestly.
Okay.
They've been together, they've been married 30 years, been together 33 this year.
Okay.
Um, got 3 beautiful kids. I done seen them come from the trenches, as we say,
Yeah.
all the way up to having multiple successful businesses, raised 3 amazing kids.
Mm,
They got grandkids, and just kind of watching them navigate through life. Like I beat every statistic, but they didn't.
mm,
But it's because of them that I got the opportunity to.
get you.
And so, they had some struggles in life and, all the statistics that you can imagine for a young black woman and a young black man, they have gone through it and
Yeah.
they surpassed it, but they unfortunately did fall into that statistic.
Mm,
But made it out. That's what I think is so amazing. Um and yeah, I just feel like they are really like we're past the stage of I tell people all the time, I'm past the stage of being parented by
mm.
my parents. Now they're my lifelong mentors. And those are 2 completely different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna save this question for the end, but I want to know. And I saw you share this post, and I'm curious of your response. I'm gonna ask you this:
Okay.
what does a black woman deserve?
Every damn thing.
Everything.
Every damn thing.
Okay, now you got to break it down.
For me, I feel like, and I'll use this, right? So a lot of people ask, I don't know where it came from or who started this. I don't know if we as women, and I'll put us in the mix. I don't know if we started asking men what they bring to the table
Mm.
because of us being hyper independent. But in turn, somewhere in the mix, men started to ask us as black women, what do we bring to the table?
Mm-hmm.
And I have been asked that question before by
From
a black
from
man.
okay. Did you
And
find it insulting?
I did.
Okay, I'm curious to know
I
why.
did. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because men are here to lead.
Mm-hmm.
Women are here to nurture and multiply.
Okay.
That's what we bring to the table. In my personal opinion, I feel like without the black woman, a black man would be stagnant.
Mm.
Not that he would not grow, but that he would be stagnant. You
Mm.
would not be able to multiply without the black woman.
Okay.
I truly believe that men don't have the capacity and the nurturing ability to multiply something. To multiply something takes nurturing,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can start with it. Say you make a crop, right?
Yeah.
Take a tree or something, anything, right? You start with that little cabbage, right? You got your first batch. But a man is put here to create that first thing, to
Mm.
initiate, to lead, to start. But a woman is here to multiply. You planted that seed, I'm supposed to go water it.
Mm.
I'm the one who is going to make sure that we continue to have these cabbage patches growing in. I am here to multiply. I'm here to nurture.
Well, let me ask you this: why did he ask you that?
I think in my personal opinion, I have been told that I am a little I've been told that I'm intense for one.
Okay.
I'm a very intense person, which
When
I
it,
do believe could be true.
when it comes to what?
Life.
Okay.
And I would believe that to an extent. But also that, some men are intimidated
Mm.
by, I guess, what I could bring to the table. And so that's why I think I was asked that question.
So I'm asking. I'm assuming y'all was having a conversation for him to ask you that.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it that was said for him to say, "What do you bring to the table?" Like what?
If I can recall, I believe I informed him on some misinformation that he had shared throughout the communication.
Okay.
And I think just checking him, as we call it, which it
Yeah.
wasn't to check him, it was to just clarify, hey, this is where you are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This is the factual information.
Okay.
And I think in a lot of cases, not even just a men and women thing, but just people in general sometimes don't like that.
Mm.
To be checked,
Yeah.
so to speak. They don't know how to take it as, no, this is out of love, me letting you know, hey, that's not correct. So don't go around telling me about it. That's not right.
Would you agree that the women today have different expectations and requirements when it comes to dating?
I don't know.
It seems
Because I feel like I have the regular old school, I guess we could call it expectations. I expect my man to lead. I
Mhm.
expect him to provide and protect.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't have too many other expectations.
I feel like
What they expecting out here? I don't know.
I feel like women nowadays they expect for you to have a certain figure when it comes to income.
Okay.
They expect for you to um be a certain height, a certain
Mm,
physique,
okay.
um certain complexion, like it's so specific.
Mm-hmm.
These all small specific things, and it's like you want a man to make this amount of money, have his own house, his own car. These all, you want to educate it, you want to have some type of degree, all of these requirements, and then that's where men started asking, like, what do you bring to the table?
Right. Okay.
You can't just be fine. You
Right.
can't just
You
bring
want me to have
sex.
all this whole list of plethora of things? What you got?
So that's why I asked
Okay.
you how was the convers. That's why I asked you how was the conversation for him to say that. I wasn't sure if you was like, do you got a job? Do you make six figures?
No,
You know.
that's not really like my line of questioning. Like I'll
Okay.
definitely ask what you do.
Mm,
I feel like that's a part of any conversation, especially when you getting to know somebody, whether that's romantically or platonically.
mm,
I'm gonna ask everybody, what is it that you do? Now, for me, that question comes about in figuring out what are your interests.
mm,
A lot of the times what you do can be your interest. I'm gonna ask you what you do, and then do you like what you do? Because are you doing it just to make a living, or are you doing it because you enjoy it? You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And so no, that wasn't like the lining of like the conversation or questioning. Um, I mean, I did ask him what he do for a living. It was asking part of the conversation. Um, but I think it was more so just I had a line of questioning in the mix and I could conversate or
Mm,
converse, and he didn't know how to.
mm.
Um, I was able to just ask the questions naturally and it wasn't trying to pry, but he could not lead the conversation himself, and so I led the conversation.
Can all women be nurturing? Are all women nurturing?
I think all women can be taught.
But are all women nurturing?
No, I don't think so.
So
Because I
the
think
fact that
being
you are
nurturing comes from your upbringing.
exactly.
Nurturing, I do believe, is naturally a part of every woman, but it can be locked away and it can be highlighted.
So is there something to bring to the table?
Yeah.
So by him asking you that, I'm just trying to see how it was maybe how it was worded or something, how the
hmm
conversation was going. I don't really have the context, but I just feel like that's not a bad thing to ask a woman. What
So
are you
what
bring to
what
the
I feel like makes it in the context of our conversation is because I had then in turn already poured out everything I bring to the table,
got you?
right? And I think again, just because I think it came out of just because I was leading the conversation.
Mm,
you know, being the one in the conversation between a man and a woman, and I have all these questions, and not because I want to, but because the minute I stop asking questions, the conversation dies.
mm,
Because apparently this person couldn't engage. He didn't know how to engage. Again,
mm,
communication is important. Everybody doesn't know how to do it. Everybody doesn't know the natural flow and order of a conversation.
mm-hmm,
And so I didn't know if we was like playing 21 questions where I just asked all the questions and then you answer and then
mm-hmm.
you ask 21 questions.
Yeah.
But to me it seemed that he just didn't know what to ask or when to ask or how to ask. And because I do, I did.
Yeah.
And I think he was just like, dang, you asking me all these questions. Well, what you bring to the table?
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
And it was like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
shoot, if you don't want to talk, we can end that the conversation.
yeah.
It's not
So
because
so
I
what was your response? How did you respond to it when he said, "What do you bring to the table?"
everything.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I do. Like that's not even to
Flex.
like flex or boast or anything, but I literally bring everything and some to the table. Again, like that nurturing quality, like that's something I saw growing up, and so I
Mm-hmm.
adapted it. I know how to be nurturing.
Yeah.
Everybody has the qualities and abilities to be a nurturing person, but somebody has to nurture the nurturer.
Exactly.
You have to be nurtured to in order to know how to nurture,
Yeah.
right? And so that's why I say not every woman is, because I had a great relationship with my mother who was the nurturer of my home.
Yeah.
And so she nurtured me and taught me what that was and what that looks like and how you do it for other people.
Mm.
If you grow up without that in your household, you don't know how to do that. You don't know what that is. And sometimes you can't even identify it. Sometimes there are women out here, I've had girlfriends who don't know what nurturing looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I nurture them because nurturing isn't just a romantic thing, it's platonic as well.
Exactly.
Nurturing them, pouring into them. Hey, how are you going on your business plan, friend?
Mm-hmm.
What's this? Like helping you.
Yeah.
And they can see it as prying.
Exactly.
They can see it as overzealous or just, you know what I'm saying, like micromanaging, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
People may take nurturing for if they don't know how to identify
All right, y'all. We gonna get a little bit into Bree's personal life. All right,
it.
man. She can talk and walk her walk when it comes to this business and being the advocate for the community. Let's talk about dating.
Whew,
All
child.
right, because I always listen. What does dating look like for you in 2025? Are you dating? What's your thought of dating compared to?
um, I would say this. I'm a very, very much a long-term relationship gal.
Mm-hmm.
Have been my whole life. Like even as a teenager, like I ain't never just like fooled around or nothing like that. I think that comes from seeing my parents, them being in a long term, long day. Oh y'all, they're gonna get me for that one. But being seeing them in a very long term relationship and stick it
Yeah,
out through everything, that's just what I see, and so that's what I expect.
yeah.
Um, and so I've only been in two serious relationships.
Mm.
And then like dating for me, like as of today, like it's scary.
Mm.
It's scary. And I think because of all the things I bring to the table, and as I just continue to grow and I'm put in a limelight, so to speak,
Mm.
um, I feel like people prying on me. Like they playing predator. Like they, you know what I'm saying? Like they preying on me,
Yeah.
to just kind of be in the mix of things that I'm in,
Yeah.
I've dated, over the past year or so, nothing serious, but just seeing what's out there, and that's where I know that that comes from is because I've been on dates with people and be like, I saw you as a part of the Grammys in the Recording Academy, and
Mm.
fired. Because why'd you even bring that up?
Mm.
How'd you get about getting in that room, or how was that situation?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, so it just kind of makes me feel like people are praying and, seeing the opportunities that they could probably get out of me than rather than being actually and genuinely interested.
Mm.
And so yeah, it's kind of like non-existent, so to speak, for me at the moment. Like I ain't closed off to it. It's not because I don't want to date or I'm not looking for it.
Yeah.
It's just I'm at a state where I'm just focused on me.
Mm.
Because the right person will find me, you know?
Yeah. So you found a guy that had all those things as far as being faithful, respect, all of that. And he one day said, Bree, I'm having thoughts of another woman. No one in particular,
hmm
just desires of experience another woman. What would you say?
Which wig you want me to put on? I'm just playing. I'm just
Yeah,
playing. Honestly, I don't know how I would tackle that conversation.
yeah.
I think I would have to definitely. I think
Or would you rather not know? Would you rather him
I
do
would
he
want
gonna
to
do?
know.
No, I'm talking. Would you rather him do he gonna do and just you just never know about it?
Uh-uh. And I say no to that because I know how women are.
Mm.
Especially like if we just considering who I am now, like let's say years from later, when I get 5, 10 years from later, if I get married to this man or whatever, I would imagine that I would just be as big of a public figure then as I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And so people gonna know you, my man.
Yeah,
So you can't just go out here and do something and I not know.
yeah.
It's just gonna be impossible. And I would rather know than not.
Okay.
And I feel like to kind of tackle conversations like that, I think it's gonna take a lot of maturity
Mm-hmm.
because instantly I'm going to be insulted. I would believe I would be insulted instantly. I think I would probably feel
Like not enough.
inadequate, like I'm not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Those emotions and feelings I think would be at the forefront to start that conversation off. Um, and I might even honestly not be able to control the reaction to my emotion
Mm.
and flip out. I'm gonna be
You
honest.
saying
I
all
might
this so calmly. You
like
like
because
I
it's the truth. I can
yeah
I can acknowledge what I may or may not do.
yeah.
And I think that will allow me to be able to handle the situation and control it better because I can picture and imagine, okay, I might do this. I might
Yeah.
do that. You know what I'm saying? But in all that, I think it will kind of just take for me being mature enough to say,
Mm.
hey, he telling you before he hurt you. It
Yeah.
hurt temporarily right now.
Yeah.
This just the knowledge. Imagine how you would feel if he did that action.
Mm.
And so acknowledge that he's being man enough,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, and respecting you enough to even just sit down and say, I'm having this conversation because these are my feelings and emotions. And then we have to get to the point, okay, well, what is making you desire these things? What is it? Is it something that I can feel? Is it a desire that I can feel? Because sometimes it's just not.
Yeah.
And if it ain't, then I'm just not for you.
Exactly.
Right. But sometimes you might just need to have that conversation. Is it a desire that I can feel for you as your woman? Is it something in the bedroom that you want to explore that you may think I'm just not willing to explore?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's to the point where you feel like you need to go cheat, maybe I'll explore it if you had a conversation with
Yeah.
me. You know what I'm saying? To keep home happy.
Exactly.
And so things like that I think would be the kind of navigation of what that conversation may look like.
All right. What you working on now? Tell us.
Man, what ain't I working on? So like on the nonprofit, we're getting ready to do our second annual Stack Summit, STAC.
Okay.
Support the artists and creatives. We did it last year in July. And we partnered with Stax Museum of American Soul and the Stax Academy. Amazing event. 4 different panels. We had executive from Motown Music. We
Mm.
had writers from Atlantic. We had DJ Q. We had all kind of people in there just feeding information into the public about the music industry. And we had over 500 people in attendance.
Wow. Okay.
And so this year we're doing it again. We're doing 3 days. So we're super excited about that. Day one is all about creating a sound. So we're going to be at a famous studio. I can't drop names yet. We finalized the paperwork this week.
Okay.
But we're going to be at a really big studio here in the city. We're going to be doing songwriter sessions. We're going to be hosting engineering sessions and producer sessions, beat making classes. So
Mm.
day one is all about creating that sound. Day two is going to be all about the business. So we're going to it's going to be a second location for day two. Can't say the locations. But we're going to be going over everything you need to know about the music industry as far as the business side. So we're going to be helping y'all get registered with ASCAP and BMI. We're going to be getting people signed up for Grammy U who are maybe in college and things like that. Just really going over everything to make sure you have ownership of yourself as an artist and the works that you put out going forward. And then day three, we're gonna do a concert,
Yep.
and fundraiser. So it's gonna be really big. We're gonna be having some local artists, some out of town artists performing and hitting the stage. And then we're also, of course, throughout all of the events, gonna have different panels and things like that take place. Day three, we're doing our Memphis Legacy OG. Memphis panel. So it's gonna be like the OGs and legends out of the
Hmm.
city who are gonna be on that panel to kind of give our young folks the game.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, man, once again, like I'm proud of everything you get going. You definitely inspiration.
Thank
So
you.
keep grinding, keep doing what you're doing, and I look forward to everything you get coming.
Thank
Shout out
you.
your social media. Let everybody know where they can find you. Shout out your website. Let everybody know.
Yeah, yeah. So y'all can find me on iambreezy.com. That's iambreeze.com. All my socials on there. If you want to touch in on a nonprofit tip, that's bsoyfoundation.org. And yeah, let's get this work in.
Cool, cool. Now, I mean, just to go by your accolades, we'll be here all day. I wanted to talk about your vlogging, just different stuff you got
Yeah.
going, but I know you just, you a hard worker.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
I
Yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am underscore breezy, putting out that content. YouTube been a dream of mine since I was like 13 years old. And so I'm back at it. I'm trying to stay consistent with it. It's a little hard because my life a little hectic, but yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, once again, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. We gonna get out of here. We gonna get straight to it.